Margarita number 4. Welcome in to the PHNX Diamondbacks show, brought to you by our friends at, of course, Bet365 and Game Time. And our guy, Damon Dog, is miserable in Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. I am safe at home, but I've made some comments on social media that I definitely regret. Welcome in to the PHNX Dbacks show, presented again by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Damon, I'm not happy. Nobody's happy. No Diamondbacks fan in the world is happy right now after seeing what happened to this team tonight. And it's kind of wild because overall, right, this was a pretty epic comeback for the Arizona.
I'm not going to turn off the music. I'm not going to turn off the music. I'm not going to. I'm going to loop it.
You're just going to let it run for the whole time?
I might underlay it the entire show. Yeah, I might loop it.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate. Look at my camera's all shaky, and it's on. It's on by design because this game was shaky, and I don't know. I mean, I guess this is one of those losses where the Diamondbacks did manage to manufacture an epic comeback themselves. They were down by a bunch of runs, and thanks to Lourdes Gurriel and a grand slam, Diamondbacks got back into this. They clawed their way back in. They tied it. They took a lead late, a 9-8 lead, and then they even tacked on a few more back-to-back home runs late that made you feel, at least made me feel, confident enough that the Diamondbacks were going to lock this one down, that I committed to doing this podcast. Of course, welcome in to you all. Great to see you guys here. Damon, not so happy to be here, and understandably so. He might be angrier than anybody else to be here tonight, and that's because this was probably the worst loss of the season, which seems weird to say considering it was also an epic comeback by this team. You're speechless. Look at you. Where do you want to start?
And so just a little peek behind the curtain. I told our guy, Kevin Thomas, hey man, you have a good Friday night. I got this. I'll handle it tonight.
You fool.
Kevin went ahead and did all the work to for the win. We got it all ready to go. And so with the comeback from the Dodgers at the end there, not only did I have to then change the entire show and put in work that I wasn't previously going to do, I now have to go on a live broadcast in front of the worst people, all these Dodgers fans in the chat, and talk about the horror show that I just witnessed on live my television.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of blame to be placed, and you could place it on a lot of different people, Damon. So I guess that's what we're here to do tonight. This isn't a full podcast. We're not going to go for an hour. We're not going to do ad reads. We're just going to sit here and lament. We're just going to sit here and be sad. And I'm glad to have you guys here with us, because you guys being sad with us, you guys being here to vent feels right. But obviously, there's a lot of people you feel like you could place this loss on, right? Eduardo Rodriguez had one of his worst starts of the year. He went 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 8 earned runs on 9 hits. He walked 3. He struck out 3. He looked like he absolutely could not do much, especially there when he was pulled from this game to get an out, right? So obviously what Erod did tonight and his spectacularly bad outing definitely put the Diamondbacks in a hole. But and I mean this to ask you this question: when a team comes back and bounces back and evens the score, at that point, is everything a wash? When the game was 8-8, did nothing before that matter, considering we were back to even? Because before you even answer, I'll just say that's how I kind of view it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like 0-0 at that point, and and honestly, it felt like the Diamondbacks had the upper hand because they had all the momentum. They had the crowd behind them. They had the new jerseys on. They had a miraculous grand slam, right? And all for naught. All for naught.
All for naught. The purple did seem to give Lourdes superhuman powers, which once again, we already knew that was the case based on the way that he had an incredible season after I dyed my hair purple last year. But again, 1 for 5 tonight. He did have 5 RBI. Not a ton of offense, but Ketel Marte, like we said, did add a home run late there in the game. And then you also had Randall Grichuk prior. You had Grichuk and Marte going back to back home runs in the top or bottom of the 8th inning. And at that point, things felt pretty good. The Diamondbacks were up 11-8, right? Even when they came back to score 1 run earlier. Probably should have scored more with the bases loaded, but they were able to get that 1 run in, be up 9-8 there. But then, of course, the Diamondbacks could not do much to stop the Dodgers from coming back. Kevin Ginkel, and I mean, again, I got to be honest, Kevin Ginkel was a guy that I was pretty excited to kind of see in that closer role in last night's game, to just see Kevin Ginkel late. However, not to make excuses for him, but Kevin Ginkel is fairly fresh off of a return from an injury, and the Diamondbacks have been going to him quite a bit, right? So he was not good tonight, and that basically is what put the Diamondbacks in a position to lose this game.
He was awful tonight, as was Erod, as was Ryan Thompson. What pathetic performance from the pitching staff minus Christian Mena. I feel worse. The only person I feel worse for than myself is Christian Mena. Yeah, I said it. I feel horrible for myself. And the only person I feel worse for is Christian Mena, who deserved, to get a W tonight, really, because he was unbelievable. And he carved up the Dodgers, top dogs over and over again consistently. And, someone put it up here in the chat. I'm not going to go find it, but, they said that all this just for Mena to get sent down. And, it's kind of funny because that's 100% what's going to happen. Like, they picked him up because they needed the extra innings.
Yes.
They got the innings, and now he'll be back in Reno. We wasted, an incredible performance in his, Chase Field debut. And I can't even fathom the bullpen performance tonight.
There's a good chance he could be sent down just due to the situation, right? Just to get a fresh arm back up here. But that doesn't mean that Mena didn't impress. And especially with how lost Erod looked out there, especially when they pulled him from the game. Christian Mena came in and gave the Diamondbacks 3 2/3 innings. He struck out 5. He walked 1, didn't allow a hit, didn't allow a run. And it couldn't have been more different from Erod's performance, right? Now you have fans before the end of this game clamoring for, the return of Ryan Nelson, Damon. And I mean, again, it's the fact that Erod has been inconsistent, and even in some of his better outings, it's not like he's been a lockdown pitcher. He's still allowed runs. And Ryan Nelson, quite frankly, has still been very good going back to last year, right? But Christian Mena deserves his flowers because I feel like he is the reason the Diamondbacks stayed in this game. Lourdes Gurriel obviously is a big reason why they got back into it with his grand slam. But I mean, overall, this team didn't quit, and it felt like this. I don't know. I think that's why this is such a gut-wrenching loss for the Diamondbacks, is that this feels like this one was earned kind of back. They fought. They didn't give up. They did what they've done all season long, which is bounce back late. And yet, once again, in the 9th inning, it doesn't seem to matter who the Diamondbacks put in that game, right? It's like, feels like whoever they put in there. Now, again, saying that is based on the results and not what could have been, right? Maybe Torey Lovullo could have swapped those two relievers around. Maybe Ginkel comes in the 8th inning, Shelby Miller comes in the 9th. I don't know. I mean, when a team loses like this, especially this Diamondbacks team, it feels like the fan base wants to immediately put blame on Torrey, and maybe he deserves a little bit of it for tonight. Ginkel has been, like I said earlier, used a lot, and this was a big moment for this team that I don't know if he, if he stacked things correctly tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I told you before the show, I don't really have the energy to do the Tory thing tonight. I feel like I've
so
just had my life ripped out of me in front of my eyes. But that being said, I don't really understand having Shelby Miller go up against the bottom of the Dodgers lineup when he's been your ninth inning guy most of the season. Kevin Ginkel is coming back. He's not, on full Kevin Ginkel mode right now. Ryan Thompson's been bad all season, basically. Like, I think that you let Ginkel and Ryan Thompson attack that bottom of that lineup, and you give Shelby Miller, hypothetically those top Dodger bats. So
yeah,
in this one, I don't think Torrey did a good job managing the bullpen, but at the same time, like, Kevin Ginkel also gave up, a million hits, and then Ryan Thompson came in and had Ohtani down to 2 strikes and then threw him an absolute meatball. And it's
right.
Torrey shouldn't have pitched those guys in the 9th. And also those guys are, they can't be, that bad when you need them in big moments, because those are 2 of the only bullpen arms that, you feel like you should be able to trust right now based off of the injuries that this team has. So yeah, it sucks. And I'm not happy with Torrey. I'm also not like sitting here being like this was totally completely on him. I just wish AJ Puck and Justin Martinez were on this team.
That's exactly what it comes down to, right? I mean, Piece of Yoshi says maybe you should have saved Beeks there for late.
Maybe
Beeks hasn't been perfect, especially since he got hit in the arm by that comebacker, but it would have made sense to save that left-hander for later in the game. And the Diamondbacks don't really have another left-hander, right? So I think that's something to consider here where it comes to why he stacked it this way and why we didn't see him go to someone else aside from Ginkel.
Ryan, I do remember that. I'm sorry to cut you off, Derek, but I have to. You know what? I forgot about it when the Diamondbacks took the lead. But yeah, I do remember that. And that's not making me very happy right now, because Erod was getting shelled. And not only that, he quit playing defense. It's egregious. But sorry, Derek, you continue.
No, you're good. You're good. And I mean, it's definitely that, right? Like, the one thing you can say, we just said this about Ketel last night. He wasn't hitting. He ended up getting hot, right? Like, he ends up hitting a home run tonight's game. He ends up hitting one last night. But like, Ketel there was playing some excellent defense. And there's something to be said about the fact that when you're not doing the other things well, that at least you should be giving 100% on defense. I don't know what to say about Erod after tonight's start. And I will say that, like, again, this starting pitching rotation has started to come together, but it definitely feels like Erod has been the most inconsistent starter. And it's because he can be brilliant, but he can also be absolutely awful like he was tonight. And again, the Diamondbacks do have options. They had a guy that they put into the bullpen for Erod, for Jordan Montgomery, and quite frankly, Ryan Nelson has been better than both of those guys. He deserved it over both of those guys, and it felt like the only reason why he didn't get it was what those guys are receiving in income, right? So that has been something the Diamondbacks have been good about, not making those decisions based on payroll. However, tonight is one of those situations where Erod stunk, right? And put the Diamondbacks in a position to not win this game. The offense fought back. This team fought back, which is what they do, and they've done all season long. However, again, the bullpen did not do their job. Kevin Ginkel didn't do his job. And I also tip your cap to the Dodgers. This is the Dodgers, right?
No.
I mean,
no thanks.
I know. I know that you're just going to further. This is going to be another indictment of me as a Dodgers fan in your eyes, right? But I'm just saying, like, it's a very good team over there. And honestly, it's a team that never quits themselves. It's a team that can put up a ton of runs late. And that's exactly what they did, right? This is like you said, Ginkel had 2 strikes on Ohtani, or not Ginkel, excuse me. Ryan Thompson has 2 strikes on Ohtani, and he throws one right down the pipe. So it's
a true underdog story, Derek. It really is a true underdog story.
The Dodgers?
It's hard not to root for those guys.
They're just scrappy underdogs, Damon.
Scrappy underdogs. They just put their head down. The shoe fits. The Cinderella slipper fits. And those guys, they don't need the big names. They don't need the big contracts. They just play ball.
No, they actually have quite a few good players over there. But I mean, again, like you said, it's kind of exhausting because this is something, I don't know if you and I have had this debate or even had this discussion, Damon, but when does there come a point where you blame Torey, and where does there come a point where you blame the players for their lack of performance? Would this be, for you at least, would this be more in column A or column B? Who would you blame this one particularly on?
Everybody except for Christian Mena and I guess the offense. But I guess I put it more on the pitching itself than Torey. If I had to divvy up a percentage, and I know people are going to hate that, and Killer Rex is going to lose his mind in the chat.
Too late. He's already done.
No, I know. It's. I mean, again, I'm splitting hairs here because I just blamed Torey for his part in it. But at the end of the day, I expect Ryan Thompson and Kevin Ginkel to be able to hold on to a 3-run lead, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. But Transonic asked, what happened to not having a show tonight? Well, we got very excited, and then I said stupid things on Twitter, and now here we are. And Damon hates me, and you guys are here. So it's cool because we're here complaining all together. Jamie Nunez says PHNX when it comes to defending a mediocre manager.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, man. This is why I said I didn't have the goddamn energy to do the Torey thing tonight, because I just blamed Torey, and now I'm getting called a Torey apologist for after I blamed Torey 5 minutes ago. Rewind the show. Re-listen to what I said. This sucks.
Right.
I hate everything.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's the reason why here is because, no offense to you, Jamie, but people don't seem to blame the athletes for not doing their job. And that's where I feel like they should be blamed. See, I'm an old guy. So back in my day, we used to blame the athletes for not getting the job done. We would say, as Damon loves to say, this guy stinks. And it wasn't about the manager necessarily, unless it was really bonehead managing. I got
one, Derek. I got another one on this game show edition of this guy stinks. How about Roki fan saying this Damon fella sure knows how to cope? Your name is Roki fan. Your name is Roki fan. Your whole personality that you've put in your public persona is derived after a horrific pitcher.
I'll let you go.
A horrific pitcher. Thank God Roki Sasaki is a Dodger. It's the only thing that's going to help me sleep at night is the fact that guy plays for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Mark in the chat says if Torey didn't use Ginkel Thompson tonight, they would have blown it in the 7th anyway. That's a good point. He's not wrong about that. But also, again, this is one of those things that this game probably shouldn't have even been something the Diamondbacks were in. They did fight back to get in it. So again, I know that might be what they're talking about being a way to cope. That might be a silver lining. However, they did make it a game. And not only did they make it a game, but they went from being down significantly to being back into it and having a lead. And unfortunately, the game did not go their way in the 9th inning. I will say this, that the Tim Soja is a complete maniac. He says losers mentality, Derek. What? what did I say? What, the fact that they were down big late and then they did come back? What part of it is losers mentality? Blaming it on the players? I don't really know what you're talking about, Tim, but you seem to be a sad sack online, so I'm not surprised that you're saying that. When I'm talking about Torrey putting guys in. You're talking about a guy, Kevin Ginkel, that just got the job done. You're talking about a guy, Kevin Ginkel, that historically has been good, especially with runners on and with that pressure on, right? This team seems to be in a position where it really doesn't matter who they put in late. Shelby Miller, who was a guy that seemed to fit that role well, just blew a game not very long ago. So I don't really know what the answer is when it comes to the ninth inning for this team. Maybe, as some people have suggested in the chat, this might be a roster construction issue at the fact that the Diamondbacks really don't have a closer, right? And they haven't had a closer. They've been hesitant to name a closer. And, of course, that comes back to bite them tonight on a game where they were very much ready to win this game. They're talking about Ginkel being gassed. I don't know, Damon. Do closers, if you are going to have a guy be a closer, shouldn't they be able to close on at least 2 consecutive games, or is that asking too much of a pitcher in 2025?
I think in general, it's not asking too much. I think maybe when you're factoring in that Kevin Ginkel is coming back from an injury, you could definitely make that argument.
Yeah, for sure. Caesar is asking, can we add a bum of the game segment to your show? Damon, you want to name a bum of the game in this one? Would be Kevin Ginkel?
The King Bum, if you will. I think Erod deserves it. I really do. Because at least Ginkel, if there was, I'll tell you what, if there was a slow chopper that was hit right, or a bunt that was put right in front of Kevin Ginkel, he's going to sprint over and try to make a play on it. But, sure. Erod just decided, Gabby's got it, right? I hope. Also, honorable mention, Josh Naylor was horrific tonight.
Yes.
He's been good for this team.
I agree with that.
He was horrible in a couple big spots with runners on base with less than 2 outs, which he screwed up 2 times. And then that double play that, or that could have been, that ended up, being an error when he threw it home to Gabby, that was debilitating. So Josh Naylor, you are the secondary bum of the game.
Honorable mention for bum of the night. But yeah, definitely, in my opinion, it goes to Erod. That's why I brought back that question earlier, right? Like, even with how atrociously bad Erod was, did it matter considering the Diamondbacks come back and gain a lead? Well, I don't know. In the past, I have been quick to say that since the Diamondbacks got down by X amount, that it was demoralizing to the offense, and that's the reason why they didn't produce. Well, that wasn't the case tonight for the Diamondbacks. They fought back. They not only tied the game, but they earned a lead. And then you could even say late there in the 8th inning, they padded the lead enough that this shouldn't have been a game that slipped away from them. However, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're always capable of that. Tonight, the Diamondbacks bullpen couldn't do anything to stop them in the 9th inning, really, is what it came down to. So I'm still with you, though. I still feel like Erod is the bum of this one. But we do definitely appreciate you guys so much. No matter who you root for, no matter how much you want to tell us we're wrong or that we curse this
Derek
team.
might, but no, I don't.
He says no. He says no. Screw you guys. I'll take the views because we need him over here on this show. But hey, we got some super chats, Damon. Before we get out of here, can we get to those? Benjamin Hunley just says the 2025 Dbacks are stupid. I can't argue with that. I don't think I can argue with it. Do you have any arguments refuting that? No? Okay.
They lost a game in which Eugenio Suarez hit 4 home runs earlier this year, Derek. And then they decided to follow that
absolutely up stupid
by coming back down 8-4 against the most hated rival that they have, and then eventually losing that by blowing a 3-1 ninth inning lead.
Oh, God. All right. What else we got? I don't even want to talk about this game anymore. Thank you, Mark R., so much for your super chat. He says, I typically like to blame Torrey. Not tonight. Not his fault. He only has 2 reliable relievers. Hazen didn't invest in the bullpen. Signed Erod and Monty. Plus, the players deserve blame themselves. That's a very reasonable, respectful comment, and that's kind of how I feel. Like, yes, to a certain degree, there is always some way that you could blame the manager in a loss, right? There's always going to be decisions that went one way or another. And of course, those decisions are completely forgotten if everything goes that way or if your team wins, right? But in a loss, you go back, you nitpick. I really do feel like there's a point where you do have to just blame the guys that you trust for not going out there and getting the job done, especially when you have a 3, run lead late. And Damon's done. He's gone away and he's done. But do we have any more super chats, Damon? Are you still in here, or am I all by myself?
I am still in here. I'm fixing my shot.
He's still in here somewhere. Well, we got Caesar. Thank you so much from Caesar. He says Torrey is a great coach in Little League. That was a good burn. Albert, thank you so much for your super chat. Albert says, why do we invest so much in something over which we have no control? I don't know if he means sports. I don't know if he means life. I don't know what exactly he means there, but I don't know. We have so little control over so much in life, don't we? Right. So I think that the reason why we invest so much in something we have no control over is because every once in a while it pays off, and it's the greatest feeling in the entire world when you invest emotionally in a sports team and they don't let you down like the Diamondbacks did tonight. Piece of Yoshi says Thompson can't face lefties. He proved that Monday. Yes, he's right about that, 100%. Thomas Jury, thank you so much for your super chat. He said, damn, if I ever need cathartic talk out from the PHNX crew, y'all are the crutch that helps me get over these games. Feck, Smell, LA, Ginkel coming in on after this was a little too much. Much love to both of you. Beat LA. Thank you so much, Thomas, for your super chat. He also said, this is our house. Damn Dodgers fans. Yeah, that's something that's doesn't make tonight's loss any easier. It was at least fun on Thursday when we get to send all those Dodgers fans home sad, but not tonight for sure. And then piece of Yoshi says, chat angers me more than the team sometimes. I swear to God. Well, now you know what Damon and I feel like sometimes doing this show. But we do love you guys, and we do understand being angry. We also understand venting about this team. This one, again, this is such a weird loss to me because this was a game that was very disappointing early on. They come back. They make you believe. They make you really believe. Like going up by 1, nobody believed. When they were up 9-8, nobody believed they were going to win this game. We all knew that they were going to lose. But then they had to give us that extra hope there in the 8th inning with those back-to-back runs. And that's really what makes it feel like this is just heart-wrenching, Damon. I know you're done with this. So you're all done. You got anything else to add before we get out of here?
It's one of those weird situations, Derek, where I'm done, but I'm not. And I don't know if I ever will be, but also I've been done since, the moment that Ohtani hit that home run. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
when are we going to hold this guy accountable for his gambling crimes against humanity? I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now.
That's a whole
I'm
other
sitting here and I'm going, are we gonna hold this man accountable? Are we gonna put him in jail finally?
Yeah. Well,
I can't take it anymore.
We'll get that investigation going, Damon. But of course, we thank every one of you for being here. Caesar says I'm sipping margaritas and David Busters. You're goddamn right. I'm about to go play some skee ball right now to get over this loss. But we appreciate you guys so much for being here with us. Damon, thank you for doing this because I know how much you didn't want to. But I know also that you love this team deep down inside more than most of the people in this chat, and you'll never admit that, but it's true. So we appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_caveman with a K. Damon is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG, and we are all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark, especially on a night like this. We are all Damon's dogs. Of course, our show is at PHNX_Dbacks, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate you being here to scream about this team. We appreciate you guys. Of
Love
course,
you, Dbacks
dropping your comments. We'll be back on Monday with another Mailbag Monday. I'm not making any more promises to do any more shows because this did not go my way tonight. Especially, I still have people on Twitter blaming me for this loss. And again, much like I said earlier, blame the players. Don't blame me. Killer Rex says low effort ass pod. Yeah, it was
sure, buddy.
I mean, we weren't contractually obligated to do this one, Killer X. I don't know
6 shows in a week and talked about the worst loss I've ever watched in my entire life for 30 minutes. Yeah. I don't know what else I can give. I gave everything I had, Derek.
Sean says this was supposed to be your night off, Derek. Exactly. Maybe it is my fault. Maybe it's our fault. I don't know, David. I have no problem not doing work and then not being the blame of Diamondbacks losses. So appreciate you guys, of course, for all of your insults and all of your cheap shots. We will be back again on Monday with a Mailbag Monday episode, so make sure to join us for that. In the meantime, keep being mad at somebody else besides us. And of course, keep loving this Diamondbacks team, because it's still only May 9th and there's a lot of baseball to be played. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, have a wonderful weekend. At least try to have a wonderful weekend. Behave yourselves. I'm talking to you, Killer Rex. And of course, baseball is fun, y'all, but it is more fun when your team doesn't blow it in the top of the ninth.
We all silly like the mayor.